But Bong's going to tell you what Immaculate Constellation is.
Oh, am I? Okay. Okay. I'm not really ready to tell you what Immaculate. Maybe you can.
Hi, and welcome back to the Chris Hansen Conversation. This is the season finale of yet another long season, and that's season 5. And we've waited this long to bring you Asia's only UFO UAP program in the English medium. And I think we're still the only ones. This is UFO Reveal Asia on the Chris Hansen Conversation. And with me in studio, back with me for yet another season, I have my resident ufologist, Ignatius Bong. Welcome back, Bong.
Yes,
studio.
Thank you.
Good to see you, man.
Yeah.
What have you been up to, bro?
Nowhere, actually. I've just been up a tree. I've been in the forest. I've been hiking here and there. I've been trying to, there's so much development in this topic.
Oh, a ton, man.
Yeah, so I've been just like eating chips and watching TV, and then trying to get all the stuff.
You went back to Vancouver, didn't you?
Yes, I went back to Vancouver.
And it happened there.
I went to Toronto, I went to Montreal, and it's so surprising there because the topics there are so, how do you call it? Organic, I went to a bookstore. I saw the book called Communion by Willie Stieber.
Yeah.
Right? I picked it up and I said, I want to buy this. Immediately, a group of people surrounded me and we had a conversation about this. So they're very open over there.
Oh, men in black surrounded you. Wow.
Yeah. So some of them, it could be greys, or the reptilians were there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's very interesting. I was traveling quite a bit. I also went to Stonehenge just to get a bit of...
Stonehenge is in the UK, bro?
UK. I went to the UK.
Wait. So you went from Canada over to the UK?
No, I went to the UK first.
Okay. Oh, even UK
first.
And how was it like in Stonehenge, man?
Stonehenge was very cold that period I went. But there was a certain, I think, awe when you look at the stones.
Yeah.
It's like, wow. I'm looking at something ancient, something that there's intelligence that designed this.
You didn't feel any magnetic field?
Not really. I just wanted to go to the toilet, that's all. It was so cold. Yeah. But it was there was a very nice visitor center. So it's good. Yeah, that's right.
Okay. You were saying earlier on that a lot of things have been happening, right? As a matter of fact, a lot of things have been picking up so quickly. We've never seen so many things happen in such a short span of time. Since January,
that's right.
The whistleblowing on the UAP matter or UFO matter has been really, really taking up speed. On top of that, I mean, between the last episode that we were talking about, on UFOs on this show, and now, so many things have occurred. There's just a lot of stuff for us to update you guys on.
Yeah, that's right.
And we're just about to get started doing that. So let's begin with this first topic. And I'm going to mention the title of this new thing that's been happening in the world of ufology, and then Bong will take over. It is called Skywatcher.
Yeah, that's right. Skywatcher. Okay, but the name of it, Skywatcher, means I look at the sky, I watch the sky. Okay? It's straightforward as that, Skywatcher. So, as what Chris has just mentioned, so many things has happened. It's very hard to keep track because everybody who has credentials now is coming out to the market and to the world or to publicize that of the information that they have. So as we try to capture and try to understand what is happening, we just have to really just put them in, I will say, chronological order as to what is happening. So Skywatcher was basically this incident by a new whistleblower. We all know about David Grush.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
So he's a very big military person that came out to testify in Congress. So now anybody who says, oh, I don't believe in aliens, I don't believe in UFOs, I think now it's different. They say there's no such thing as aliens, no UFOs. I think it's the whole climate has changed because the American government has already acknowledged, and the Pentagon has already acknowledged there are such things. Now the topic is, who are they? What are they? Right? That's a topic now. So for those who are in Asia, who are listening to this, and you think this is a crackpot story, I think you got it all wrong. It's already changed. Right? The climate has changed. So Jake Barber, this is a new guy that came out. He's a whistleblower.
Right.
He claimed to have retrieved, he's part of a military and US Air Force. He worked as an aerospace mechanic in the late 1990s. And then he worked in an unofficial capacity in the defense department for the intelligence community in the US. Yes, quite a big thing to just, summarize. So he came out and said he had retrieved what is known as now a UAP, unidentified aerial phenomena, or a UFO. He says the size of a egg, a large egg. So when this first came out, I burst out laughing, and I said, "Oh man, this guy is mad. How can you, make such a declaration that you caught an egg?" So it's just ridiculous. I just burst out laughing. But as I went through more study on it, I realized that actually there's nothing very funny about it.
Yeah, it seems like a normal retrieval operation of anything for that matter. Because he was working, it was basically more like black ops for the intelligence community, defense community.
Yes.
And in an unofficial capacity, as you mentioned. And when I saw the video myself, it was an underslung from a helicopter. And we're gonna play you that short video of this. So check this one out. This is real. You can see that it's something that's underslung under the helicopter that's being hoisted up.
Let's slow this down to take a closer look. That's an egg-shaped UAP suspended from a 150-foot long line. We're told the craft is about 20 feet long. The egg suspended in a cradle. And look how careful the pilot is as they bring their precious cargo into land. Let's freeze frame here to look at one of the clearest images of a UAP ever taken. This is no blurry light in a distant sky. The source of the footage putting themselves at incredible risk to record this UAP retrieval. Look at how perfectly smooth the craft is. No markings at all, and no visible means of propulsion or way to see inside.
The beautiful part about this is that it really is shaped like an egg.
Yeah.
And you can tell that it can't possibly be doctored.
Yeah, I guess the source that's coming out from
News Nation,
and also the person that's presenting it. It's very difficult to say. It is.
Yeah, it's Ross Coulthard's show.
Yeah. And if you go further down, if you see how the rope is being dangled down, there are studies being made whether this was a fake video. It's actually proven that in order to lift such an object, there are basically specialists who says that what they did in this video was correct in the format of the ropes being spread out and how it's wrapped around and how it's lifted up.
Right.
So the experts has already mentioned that yes, this is how you should actually do this. So they did some screenshots. They saw the angle of the string or the rope around the object. So they said, it's no way it can be doctored.
Jake Barber also said that during the time when he was transporting the object over to who knows where, to some airbase somewhere, there was a connection he made. Somehow that egg or whatever was inside that egg established some kind of communication with him. It was like what he would describe as a psionic connection with the craft. Let's play that video.
Is it your feeling? Are you suddenly having a mental breakdown on the job?
No, I felt like something connected with me. And it was so overwhelming that I began to cry. Once it was just me and that object in between the pick and the drop site, there's about 20 miles in between, I felt like something was inside of me. I felt like I was possessed by the most beautiful spirit I'd ever been possessed by.
Was it loving?
It was loving. But there was a sense of sadness at the same time.
Had you ever had an experience like this before?
No, it was a very feminine energy, I'll tell you that. It felt like the spirit of God, but not in any masculine sense that I had ever felt. It was like, again, the feeling of my mother and my daughter and beauty. And it wasn't like a soul, it was like a frequency that I was connected with.
Was it scared?
I don't know if it is a thing. I'm still trying to figure out why that happened. I don't want to say that because I have a pretty good idea of what's going on now. And whatever that force was since that night, it has stayed with me.
Right. Wow. This is Jake Barber at the interview with Ross Coulthard on one of America's mainstream broadcast stations called News Nation. And this was months ago. Got to tell you guys, it was months ago. And ever since that time, the reason why we're raising this is because he started this thing called, and it's a business called Skywatcher, right?
Yeah.
And Skywatcher really, it's not a frivolous thing. They're trying to collect and collate data from a scientific perspective and be the first ones to retrieve new downed UAPs and UFOs. Yep. So they're trying to race ahead of the military to retrieve these things and also to explore the skies. Anything you want to add to that, bro?
Yeah, okay. A lot of people, when they first saw this clip, they had mixed reactions. This comes also from the professional ufologist field. Some people say he's lying. Other people saying he's not. And there are still many more people say, I do not know what he's talking about. Because he's bringing into this subject field a new kind of, it's not really new. We have heard of this since the 1940s. But from someone of his caliber and his rank to quantify, I wouldn't say quantify, but solidify that there is this thing called telepathy that's happening. That's how they converse, how they share their ideas and all that. So it's something very unusual for a person to disclose because it's something that you cannot touch or you cannot, like I say, quantify. Right? So it's very qualitative. So this is where some people say, oh, Jake Barber is a fake because this guy is just being very, very very balanced in my approach. He says he's fake because this guy is, obviously he's faking it. But again, to put himself out in a field like this is a certain, I would say, suicide because he's again of such a high rank, and to put himself out this way, he will get into a lot of trouble with the American military. Right? So he started this thing called the Psionic connection with the craft. Like they say, they would talk or somehow they can conjure and call up. So Skywatcher was formed by him, and what they did was basically they have recovered video evidence of diverse shapes of this. They call it UAP,
right?
But I love the word UFO. Okay, UAP, and they use a technique called a dog whistle technique. That means a kind of way that they can actually blast a very silent kind of a whistle,
right? And
they will actually approach the cameras.
Let's take a look at that. Kai, we have this video, Psionic program, the Jordan Jozak Psionic program video.
I think
that's the one. Okay.
Do you believe that a higher form of non-human intelligence has visited this planet?
I'm certain of that.
You are certain? How certain are you?
100%.
I mean, Jordan, that's a pretty bold statement. Where does that certainty come from?
That certainty comes from my firsthand experience in what I term a psionic exploitation program between the years of 2005 and 2010, where I interfaced and worked with non-human intelligence and things like UAP directly.
I mean, Jordan, that is an incredible claim. For the viewer at home, what were you doing in this program on a daily basis?
Yeah, so this would look like things that, many people would consider, woo-woo-y, right? Like astral projection or meditation. But ultimately, what we were really investigating was how far could we stretch the bounds of human consciousness? Beyond that, how could we get human consciousness to interface directly with things like recovered materials and recovered crafts? What I can tell you from the craft and some of the different projects that we worked on directly is ultimately that they interfaced with us. What I mean by that is my consciousness could project into these craft and recovered materials and then access a suite of commands, essentially capabilities to do various things, including piloting. But ultimately, the story is not about piloting some UAP with your mind. This story is much more about what is consciousness?
Yeah.
Why can we interface with these things?
And since we're on that topic, Kai, can you also play the one summoning the egg? This is Jake Barber.
I can make the egg show up, and we have, and we've demonstrated it post-program, and we did it in August.
Oh my
In
God.
broad daylight. At the moment we elicited the egg flies by in dead silence, moving at 10,000 miles per hour.
Guy in the white tan suit.
You know, everyone likes to ask, why am I not afraid that someone's going to try and silence me with death? There are people that have died who were coming out and who were speaking out on our activities.
Anybody you know?
Yes.
Can you say anything more?
No.
Man, mind-blowing, man. Mind-blowing. And Bong was mentioning about, he was talking about how Skywatcher came up with a definition and categorizing different shapes of craft. And there's 9 UAP type that they have just divulged to the rest of the world. And we're going to play you that video right now, the 9 UAP type video.
We've been collecting UAP data for more than 5 years with electromechanical signaling, which we call our dog whistle. Generally speaking, we see 3 to 5 different classes of UAP per day during operations. After we turn on the dog whistle, UAPs literally come to us day after day. To make sense of our data, we had to define a lexicon, and we based it on flight characteristics. We've broken the UAPs down into 9 classes or types. Some of these classes may be the same UAP under different flight configurations, but at this point, given their behavior, we're confident they don't align with conventional or terrestrial explanations. Each UAP class has different characteristics. Some shimmer, some tumble, some spin. Some look like they're alive and they just fly like a living object in the sky. UAPs are extremely hard to image. What is seen with the naked eye is generally not what is seen under camera. The class 1 often spins, tumbles through the sky. Craft looks like a black body. It appears to flash, pulse multiple times per second. There appears to be some kind of cloud or vapor around it. We've seen class 1s in formations up to 22, 23, flying in different flight formations, different flock formations. The class 2 is the classic tic-tac. We've seen it in groups of 2 to 3, often flying very erratically. We've seen these a couple years in a row, and usually we see them in groups. The class 3, the blob, a pulsing, vibrating cloud. There's something, maybe perhaps a cylinder kind of in the middle that has a different light like a flame, and then it vibrates and pulses as it moves through space. The class 4 is your orb. We've only seen it in infrared. The class 4 seems to only come during certain activities in conjunction with perhaps the class 1. We don't have enough data yet to confirm. The class 5 we call the manta ray. It seems to tumble and rotate as it moves through the sky. Class 6 is bright star. That one vibrates very, very fast. It literally looks like a crystal in the sky. The class 7 is the jellyfish. It's probably about 2 meters across. The head is purple and black in color, and then it has tentacles. The class 8 we call the hornet. It looks very similar to the class 7, the jellyfish, except for it's bigger, and it's almost like a jellyfish carrying something. And then the class 9 is the egg. The class 9 isn't something we have a lot of data on. It's very limited. We have it as Skywatcher during our California event. It's an emerging class, and we have strong evidence that it probably exists, but we don't have data to concisely describe it.
Wow, bro.
That's a lot, huh?
It's a lot, man.
Yeah. So when the news came out like that, I think, it is something to pay attention to.
Yeah.
Because it's something unusual. And at the same time, as more people have traction in this, more participation comes in from the public and private organizations. They want to really find out what is this.
Right.
Because the taboo has already been lifted up. That
Yeah.
means you can talk about these things and people won't laugh at you. So with more people coming in with their expertise, they have discovered these 9 shapes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the 9 shapes, once again, there's a tic-tac,
Mm-hmm.
the manta ray,
Mm-hmm.
the jellyfish,
Yeah.
which is quite new, actually. Last year that we heard about the jellyfish, because Jeremy Corbell took infrared pictures of those, right?
Yes, correct. Yeah.
The tetra, the beam, the blob, the bright star, the hornet, and the egg. But there's Skywatcher, just added one more. It's called the dumbbell.
Really? Dumbbell.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's one more now, and it's classified the dumbbell.
Dumbbell.
It really looks like a dumbbell.
Okay.
Yeah, and since we're on this topic, and also still on the egg and the psionic connection and the classifications right now from Skywatcher on the types of UAPs, let's finish off the egg issue with this latest, very recent video of both George Knapp and Jeremy Corbell on their show, Weaponized. These guys are very, very seasoned, decades-long worth of ufologists who've been working on this phenomenon for ages. They've got their own show called Weaponized. It's pretty good. And these people are not quacks. We all know that. Those of us who are into this subject matter, we all know who these guys are. And they just discovered this through their own sources about the egg. Let's play that video.
His friend tried to get it transferred to a government program called OSAP, these acronyms. They tried to get it over there so they could open up this egg-shaped UFO. They breached the hull of it. They were able to get inside of it. The head of the DIA UFO program admitted it on our podcast. He straight fucking said it. It's not headline news. Oh, by the way, extraterrestrial technology, we got inside of it. Hold on. So for our audience that's listening, George just dropped an atom bomb because it was dropped in the book. So audience is just listening. I'm going to read you something. Beginning of chapter 9. At the conclusion of a 2011 meeting in the Capitol building with a U.S. senator and an agency undersecretary, Lekatsky, the only one of the book's authors present, posed a question. But this is where it gets good. He stated, meaning you, Dr. Lekatsky, that the United States was in possession of a craft of unknown origin and had successfully gained access to its interior. This craft had a streamlined configuration suitable for aerodynamic flight, but no intakes, exhaust, wings, or control surfaces. In fact, it appeared not to have an engine, fuel tanks, or fuel. Now, there's a next part, which I'll read in a minute, but what this is you're officially allowed to tell us that the United States government has in its possession a craft of unknown origin, and you were able to access the inside. Is that correct?
The wording that you read is correct. You're going beyond the wording.
No, I'm not. I'm asking you, did that meeting happen? And is it true? And it's true.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so you're telling us, you told us, because you were allowed to tell us, that our government has a UFO in its possession and has been able to access the inside of it, right?
Yes.
Well, that's what I know.
I was allowed to tell you. Let me show the back of the book. This is.
I know, but hold up, George. Will you translate, George?
All right, let's try another tack. How do we know it's a craft and not a doorstop? We accessed it. It has no engine. It has no wings. No fuel. It doesn't. We don't know that it travels. Do we know it's a craft or it's just a rock?
George, you're going into the further discussion that occurred that day.
All right.
We can't go there. But let me tell you, we're going to try to cover that in the future. But it's delicate. It makes the technology described in here look primitive.
Why is it delicate? Why is this topic that the United States government has a UFO in its possession and we've been reverse engineering it? You've admitted it. Why is it delicate?
The details. I'm old school. I won't use the term adversary, competitor as the way we describe. We are surrounded, maybe not surrounded, but hopefully not so, by our enemies.
Jim Lekatsky describes in his recent book of a year or two ago of how he was able to see an intact craft and go inside of it, and he couldn't recognize any kind of power or propulsion system inside of it. A four-star general described being able to see that craft as well, touched it, said in all of his decades as a military officer, combatant commander, NATO commander, it's like, oh yeah, this isn't anything that we ever made, and it's not anything the Soviets the Chinese or any other foreign country on the world could even make. It's just strange. It's just really strange.
What do you think, man?
Well, this is what I have mentioned before starting today's discussion. There's just so many things that's happening now.
Yeah.
Right? And everybody, I think everybody's just tripping to reveal stories out.
Yeah.
To make the disclosure happen. So those who are very new again to this topic, who are just seeing this for the very first time, these are some of the names you can actually follow through and get more information, the things that we mentioned. And then as you go through this, or as we talk more about this, you have to realize that these are not new developments. All these topics that you've mentioned has already been investigated since the 1960s and 1970s by, I will say, whistleblowers who do not want to be named, but researchers have already mentioned them in tons, hundreds and thousands of books based on this. And does the what they call it, the story has actually, or this kind of stories has already penetrated through the decades. But I think the biggest problem now is there's really no oversight in America as to who's taking charge of this topic. There's no government agency that's in charge of them, so it's very haphazard, it's very messy, and now you start to hear this very high ranked people coming up to do the disclosure. I think personally they are also very fed up that there's nothing is done in the US government. I personally feel it's not the US government that's not doing anything, but it's because they don't know what is happening. They are not in touch. They have no knowledge that these things are actually happening. They are so into their own domestic politics that this just takes second seat.
I think that's kind of prevalent almost every country. Yeah, including ours.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Let's move away from the Skywatcher and the egg-shaped UFO and stuff, and move on to something interesting. Might not be related to UAPs and UFOs, but as we all know, the ancient astronaut theory, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think there could be some relevance to this topic. Let me just read this out for you guys. Italian and Scottish researchers claim they found a major discovery beneath the pyramids of Giza, potentially rewriting the history of ancient Egypt. Using radar technology, it's more than just radar, as a matter of fact. It's also using synthetic aperture radar which images. It's an imaging technique capable of penetrating the Earth's surface and used in geological surveys and planetary exploration. By using that kind of technology, the team led by Corrado Malanga from Italy's University of Pisa and Filippo Biondi from the University of Strathclyde in Scotland announced the findings of what they described as a vast underground city stretching more than 6,500 feet directly beneath the pyramids. The researchers claim to have discovered 8 vertical cylinder-shaped structures, referred to as shafts, extending approximately 2,100 feet deep beneath the pyramids. That's crazy. Now we're going to play the video, just a short video, just a very tiny one, to give you an idea. Under the Great Pyramid. Now, if you notice, it's really long cylinders with what seem to be like spirals.
Yes.
Like a spiral staircase going all the way down. And some people have alluded this to looking like, fashioned after the helix, which is our double helix, which is the DNA strand, right? How our DNA actually looks like. Mm-hmm. And it kind of shaped like that, as you see in the video.
Yeah.
But someone, was it debunked or something? Or somebody else came, some people are not convinced.
Yes. Basically, this was revealed in March of this year, 2025. And then there were some people very amazed because this very rewrites the history of mankind. Mm-hmm. The shafts are like 2 kilometers down. Now, if you were to say ancient Egyptians built this, I would say, I think you better go and see a doctor, a mental doctor, because it's impossible to dig 2 kilometers down, 8 shafts with spiral staircases that leads down somewhere. Okay, personally, right, if you do your mathematics, you try to get a new team to do this, maybe a tunnel group. Maybe they can do it with our current technology. But you're talking about these people with stone tools. I don't think they can do it. So this is potentially a very big issue. Then it also adds to the topic that we did a few seasons ago about ancient aliens, and we talk about the pyramid for a bit.
Right.
At that time of our discussion, this news was not out yet.
Yeah.
But I think it was already discovered. But they had to very carefully check all this, what they call it, synthetic aperture radar, to ensure that they will not get shot by the public. But then again, not all are convinced. Like there's this guy called Professor Lawrence Conyers from the University of Denver. He called the claims a huge exaggeration. Okay, stating that the technology used radar pulses from satellite, similar to how sonar radar is used to map the ocean, cannot penetrate that deep into the earth. Right? So then again, this opens for debate. As we talk now, the debate is going on. They will try to try to understand or try to debunk.
Well, let's talk about this just a little bit more. Yeah, imagine if it were true that there are these 8 cylinders the shafts that go all the way down for 2,100 feet, right? It would beg the question whether a civilization more advanced than the ancient Egyptians themselves were actually there first.
Yes.
As you reminded everyone a couple of seasons ago when we talked about this topic, we did ask the question, hey, the Sphinx, the head of the Sphinx is not original to the body.
Yeah.
It's too small and too new. The body is older than the head.
Yeah.
The original head could have jolly well been a lion, right? And would be a lot older than the ancient Egyptian civilization.
Yes.
So would that have been the case? Now, I'm just wondering, are they going to excavate? Are they going to find out about these shafts?
Yeah, the excavation actually is now controlled by Egypt, right? So, of course, if you want to find out more about this, it will take maybe decades, maybe another 20 years for the full research to be done. But the what we have mentioned, just to recap about the Sphinx, they found that a lot of things were eroded along that time, but the Sphinx was water erosion. So water erosion, it's very, very, it's very important because it happened when the whole portion of that desert was actually a forest at that time and had a lot of rain. So this Sphinx was built during a time when the place was not a desert.
It's basically before the Ice Age.
Before the Ice Age. So that's why you have theories from researchers like Graham Hancock, who pushes very heavily that there was another race of humans or living beings. They were smarter than us, but they were wiped out.
It could have been us, but just that it was a very smart, very clever humans.
Yeah.
Compared to the dumbasses that we are now.
So this adds to the mystery even more because Egypt, just 3 pyramids alone, if you will make a study, it already has so many things on its own, just on the surface. Now you are talking about something underground. And it might lead to also another very long legend that the Egyptologists and certain Egyptians on record say it's a hall of records. That means they have 2, it actually goes down, the 8 structures, goes down to 2 cubic halls.
Yeah, halls,
right? So they say they might actually conceal things inside.
Like a library, like archives.
Yes, an archive.
Wow.
Yeah, so very interesting to watch. Then again, why is it linked to UFOs and all that? Actually, it's just what we were trying to follow up from our previous season, a new development. So on this channel, whenever there's a new development on what we talk about,
we will update you.
We will update you, yeah.
Yeah, and speaking of developments, as we started the program, this season's episode is called The Age of Disclosure. I'm not trying to copycat the actual documentary that's being, part 1's already out, right? Part 2 is being filmed. It's also called Age of Disclosure. No, I didn't think about that when I named or titled this particular episode. But it is about disclosure today. And it's coming in thick and fast. And so right now I'm going to play you a slew of videos to show you guys what we mean by thick and fast. These are updates for you, just to keep you updated on what's been going on in the world of ufology. And we're going to play the first video. This one's going to blow your mind, bro. This, because when I saw it, I went gaga, man.
Okay.
This is an alleged, and this is Louis Elizondo, and he's the one covering this topic, and I think he brought this up to Congress as well, the US Congress. a foreign alien body.
It's allegedly a biological sample removed from a US service member and submitted for analysis. This is possibly an alien implant.
Well, if you look, there's actually a piece of the chip sticking out and what appears to be these fibers that were moving on their own. And then it looks like this chip or whatever this is, this foreign object, is encapsulated by some sort of biological material.
Can we put up a picture of it? Just a still shot of it. There you go. And this thing moved.
Wow. Yeah, for those in the audience, right, who think that maybe this person is just making it up. He's actually, he can't make this up, or he'll get sued or even killed by the US military. Whatever he says has to go through the Pentagon, and they will give approval of what he can communicate to the world, because he makes money, I guess, from talks like that. But these are all approved information.
Yeah, he's got to seek approval from from his masters, because he was the deputy director of what we call ATIP in the CIA.
Yeah.
So this guy is quite high up in the intelligence services. So if you're gonna go, oh, he's a quack, I'll say, fuck off.
Yeah.
That's definitely not the case.
Yeah.
But he has become quite polarizing, you gotta say.
Yes.
US Congress is taking this entire matter very, very seriously.
Yeah, that's right.
Not just very seriously, the very fact that the legislature is going to protect whistleblowers, and now we are seeing agent disclosure happening because the amount of whistleblowers is becoming out of the woodwork, right? And this has become a real serious matter in the US, and I think it's creeping across the planet right now.
So this actually, this show or this conversation was held, I think last year.
Yeah.
But actually opened the doors.
Yeah.
It really just opened doors for people to come out. And then also what if you have just seen this whole thing, it really puts everything in perspective of what we've been trying to do here at CCB TV, to also bring this awareness to Asia, to people who are watching this show in the region. Maybe I say our traffic comes from quite a bit of regional partners like Indonesia, Malaysia, right? Singapore and all that. So, brings an awareness that we are also being very aware of these things. And it's our job, it's our duty to actually share this information.
To make sure you guys from, in and around, our friends from in and around the region, and, at least keep abreast of what's really happening. Because usually Asians, as we always say, don't really care about this topic, but we do. And we want to make sure you begin to care about it as well.
Yeah.
Just to get you into the program, people, now it's no longer called UFOs, they're called UAPs, and and aliens are no longer called aliens, or even ET, they're called NHI, non-human intelligence. So let's get into the program. That is how things are being described today, and it's become official. It is now linguistically official at least where the government of the US is concerned. They refer to UFOs as UAPs, they refer to ETs as NHIs.
Yeah.
We got some more videos. Now, don't get so upset, any one of you out there watching the show, because I know the video is kind of long. That one was a long one because we want to give you context. Now the short ones are coming up. We got, again, Bong, as I said, it's disclosure, right?
Yeah.
And I'm going in chronology of disclosures been happening. Now, you remember, towards the end of 2024, the US especially were inundated with drones, hundreds of so-called drones, especially over the state of New Jersey.
Yes.
And then at the time, of course, the elections are happening, and you know who, I'm not going to mention his name, the orange buffoon sitting there, now sitting down in that White House, said that this is crazy, it goes against national security, it's a big issue, we need to do something about it. Sleepy Joe's doing nothing, right? And what has he done? Well, he's come out to say bollocks.
Yes.
Now, let's listen to what Ross Coulthard of the News Nation are going to talk about. He went this far. Ross went this far. Play that video, please.
Okay, I'm calling it. I think the drones are anomalous. I think they may potentially be NHI. I've had people from the intelligence community who have asserted flatly to me that they are Chinese or Russian drones. Bullshit. I don't believe it. And I'm calling that out. Nobody, and I've really milked all my sources, nobody I can find has any evidence at all to prove that these are foreign adversary drones. I don't even think they're drones. Whatever they are, I've spoken now to multiple people who've told me they've seen these objects morphing. I can't verify the authenticity of it, but I tweeted recently about one that was hovering over a house that somebody videoed, and it was literally, it looked like two aeroplane cockpits a little bit apart from each other. It looked like whatever the hologram was that was being generated, it hadn't quite worked. And it was hovering over a house and drifting very slowly in a particular direction. And whatever that is, it's not a conventional aircraft. And it's interesting because I asked somebody about this at a relatively high level in the defense community just this week. And they said to me, Ross, if you were the US Air Force and the White House, would you want to admit that there are objects operating with total impunity over the continental United States that we can't track, we can't detect, we don't know where they're coming from or where they're going to, we don't know who's responsible for them, and more importantly, we cannot bring them down? Would you want to admit that? And the answer is no. And it's interesting because more and more, I think it's a bunch of A-type males in the US military who just can't bring themselves to admit that despite the expenditure of trillions of dollars, the security and defense and integrity of the national airspace of the United States cannot be guaranteed. That's the issue behind the drones. Whatever they are, I suspect, yes, there have been some drones going up, and that's a matter of public record. Skywatcher, for example, reported that some of the objects that they saw were indeed sort of commercial drones that somebody was putting up. But they've also, as Jake told me yesterday, made it very clear that the objects that they were seeing included highly anomalous objects. And this is something that John and Jerry Tedesco have picked up with their Nightcrawler research laboratory. They've gone out and they've actually looked at these objects through their hyperspectral cameras and their other optical and sensor devices. And what they are recording is anomalous. So the big issue to me is not that these objects are anomalous. It's why is the United States government, notably the Trump White House, putting out a statement that is egregiously false and misleading and completely unsustainable in light of what Jake Barber has said and in light of what New Jersey police and other military continue to say to me, that these objects are anomalous, they're still there, they're still hovering, and whatever they are not normal terrestrial vehicles.
Okay. What do you make of that, man?
Yeah, man.
I mean, look, that guy talked so big before he is swearing in, right? And right now, even he is afraid.
Yes. Ross Coulthard is, I think he's an Australian journalist.
Yeah.
Right. Then before he went to News Nation, this guy, he's good because he's very objective in his research. This, don't take it from my words, but if you study him as a journalist, he's very direct and he gets to the chase. So whatever you just hear, again, is a very good summary of that situation in the US, in New Jersey.
Ross Coulthard before David Grush, right? For the interview with David Grush.
Yeah, he's the interviewer.
Yeah, but he was a skeptic.
Yeah.
Now he's a complete believer.
Believer, because I guess maybe the facts are just too heavy for him.
He's been traveling the world trying to find out about these things now, you know.
So I was also very surprised that when Donald Trump made the announcement that they were just normal drones, it was like because there were videos, a lot of witnesses who saw these things.
Yeah.
It's just like the case where we saw in the US, which I totally forget the place, where the huge saucer appeared. Something who saw this? The whole they debunked it with that fake alien coming up and saying, "Oh, I'm the one who did it." What's that place called?
How come I don't know about this?
Yeah, he's there. It's the lights. They saw the lights in the sky.
Oh, Phoenix.
The Phoenix lights.
The Phoenix lights. Okay.
Getting old, man. Yeah, it's the same thing as a Phoenix light.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
We were saying that no, that's nothing. It's probably just flares, but it's not true because, like as I always mentioned, sometimes when you have one eyewitness, you can doubt. If you have 5, you can doubt. But when you have the whole place, the towns, and everybody seeing it. I think that is something, because it really caused fear. If you really followed the reports during that time, they were everywhere and they were shooting videos and all that.
Yeah.
And then to say they're just normal drones.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what he says is true. I guess maybe the A-type male American military do not want to admit anything because it shows their weaknesses.
Yeah. You remember the story about the Vandenberg Air Base?
Yes, I heard of that.
Remember? It's huge spacecraft that landed on Vandenberg Air Base, and the aliens came out. And there was a alleged meeting. Guess what, man? First of all, it's this disclosure thing is so crazy, right? This whole story is out in US Congress, by the way, during the hearings. To the point where it is a new series on Disney Plus and Hulu, UFOs Investigation, The Unknown Season 2, out right now, the 6 episodes, and they actually also covered the Vandenberg Air Base. Now, let's take a look at this video in Congress about that incident.
Tell the event that occurred at Vandenberg Air Force Base.
Certainly. I've been waiting for this for seems like my whole life, and I literally fell out of my chair.
They observed a very large red square, estimated to be almost the size of a football field, approach the base from the ocean and hover at low altitude over one of the launch facilities.
The radio transmissions start to pour in.
As it became closer and closer to our position, it stopped and hovered right over the coastline. There's no propulsion systems, no lights, no audible sounds, and it just hovered there.
And then just all hell broke loose.
There was a lot of chaos.
These are people I'd spent years with, and they're not people that are easily frightened or intimidated. And they were terrified, and they were screaming for help over the net.
This object remained for about 45 seconds or so before darting off over the mountains.
It just shot away up the coastline. It seemed like 1,000,000 miles an hour, like it was shot out of a cannon, and then it was gone. I mean, personally, I can't explain it. I've never seen anything like it in my life. The way it hovered, to make no sound, to have no propulsion system. Our aircraft don't do that.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's a good series to watch if you have time. Yeah. Now, I just want to put in one thing. They're appearing a lot over military sites, very powerful military sites, and I'm sure it is happening in Russia, in all the big.
Pretty sure, man.
In China,
because we don't hear about it.
We don't hear about them again because communist country, they don't really reveal such.
Russia's not communist.
Russians are.
Then again,
but then again, they still operate that way.
Yeah,
because it's too close for comfort, and it is something. My personal opinion, a cause for concern.
Is it?
Yes,
Right.
I feel that they're just watching. They're triggering. They're trying to see response rate.
Right.
It's like before I invade a country, I need to put out my scouts to check and see what's happening, how fast.
So the orbs, the small little orbs, are recon vehicles.
I think all these are recon. The tic tac. They want to see how the flight.
Man,
I don't know because
it's gonna be in deep shit. That's the case, man. Deep shit. Shit's so deep. It shit's quick, man. I tell you, really, man.
Yeah.
Oh boy. And some more revelations have been occurring. Dr. Hal Puthoff, UFO base in Australia. Can you beat that, man? Almost close to home, huh?
Yeah.
So apparently there's a UFO base in Australia as discovered by the remote viewing project Stargate. Let's play that one now, Kai. On the Joe Rogan Experience, man.
Yeah.
One of our remote viewers that was really good came up one day and said, I was looking around and I think I found a UFO base on Earth. This is during the remote viewing era, and oh my God, I've got to report this to my CIA contract monitor. Do I want to tell him that? And so I did, and one of the places he came up with but one of the places he came up with was Mount Zeal in Australia. And so my CIA contract monitor says, well, I know the station keeper, CIA station keeper out in Australia. I think I'll call him, and I won't tell him why I'm asking, but I'll ask him about Mount Zeal area. So he gave him a call, and he said, I'd like to ask you about that Mount Zeal area. He says, oh, you mean where the UFOs are always flying around?
Whoa.
So I thought, oh, gee,
Oh, wow. And he's also quite high ranking, isn't he?
Yes.
Al Botel?
Yeah, that's why today's video is a bit unique. A lot of videos, because I think it's a lot of the videos were very well put and edited.
Yeah, I'm so sorry, mate, if I'm really playing too many videos.
No,
for
it's
this
okay. It's okay.
particular season.
This is very important for people to watch.
Yeah, I think so, because we only come on like once a season, or twice
correct.
a season,
Yeah.
and there's only so much we
There's
can
a
do.
lot of things that's happening now.
Yeah.
So, it's impossible to just talk like that.
Correct. Yeah. So we want to bring more news updates to our viewers and listeners.
Yeah.
And since to provide more updates, we've got something as fresh as 12th of April. There is a sighting by the U.S. Navy, and this was on the show with Chris Cuomo. Jeremy Corbell is the guest, and let's play that one.
Joining me now, investigative journalist, co-host of the Weaponized podcast, my friend Jeremy Corbell. The floor is you, Jay. What do people need to know?
Yeah, man, this is an interesting case. There is power in military footage. It's few and far between that we get great sensor data on something that is truly anomalous. And that's what we're seeing here, backed up, of course, by the eyewitness testimony. This ship is one of the most technologically equipped ships. But additionally, this is a senior ranking Navy official who I believe will end up coming forward. They saw these craft coming out of the water, at least one of them coming out of the water. That's Transmedium. This is in the Combat Information Center. Also, they saw 4 of them in total. They saw them on radar, then they picked them up in thermal. That's why it looks black and white. But if you look at a plane through that system, you see wings, the tail, exhaust, rotors, all sorts of heat signatures. You're not seeing that here. So again, it was tracked on radar, tracked on thermal. There was a kind of a synchronized, coordinated, instantaneous departure described to me and George Knapp by the first-hand witnesses. This is really reminiscent of the 2004 Tic Tac UFO, where Commander David Fravor, who testified in front of Congress, chased a UFO for the United States military. Cat's out of the bag. Sailors are seeing stuff, and now we have more evidence.
How big, and do we have stuff like that?
Yeah, no, everybody says we don't have stuff like that. Don't take my word for it. Commander David Fravor testified in front of Congress. We didn't have technology like this in 2004. We do not have technology like that now. We also wouldn't be testing, kind of black budget technologies in these warning areas right off the coast of San Diego. This has been going on for decades, if not centuries. We don't have technology like this, but take the word of people that testify in front of Congress who know.
All right. Wow. Okay, so things are heating up, and they're heating up some more. David Grush, the first whistleblower we ever heard of, that appeared in front of the US Congress in 2023, claimed that the Pentagon was operating UAP retrieval programs. So when he made those claims in June 2023, and he also said, of course, they're hidden from lawmakers and the public and from Congress. And then the House Oversight Committee was formed on the issue of UFOs and UAPs in July of 2023. Now, Grush and others who said that they were former members of the Retrieval program, they were all testified as well. Now, on March 26th this year, 2025, some lawmakers are hoping for more transparency on UAPs, as David Grush now has got a new role in Washington, D.C., in the new Arrow program, right? He will be the senior advisor for Republican Representative Eric Burleson, helping him with issues related to UAP, and will hold that position for a 4-month period. Now, the last hearing in Congress was held on November 2024. So this is where we're going to play you some excerpts of the important stuff, the juicy bits of what happened in Congress. First one is the breaking news that DOD, are they creating hybrids of human and non-human genetics? And let's play that one.
For 5 minutes of questioning.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Now that we have all been cautioned in this committee hearing that the mention of Pentagon's Immaculate Constellation program could put us on a list, well, I already find myself on many lists, I'm sure. So I speak my mind often, so why not just keep going with it? May as well just go all out and say it. The earth is flat, birds are government drones, and we've never set foot on the moon, and Joe Biden received 81 million votes in the 2020 election. So let's just see how many lists we could get on here today. But Mr. Schellenberger, I wanted to ask you, I think I understand from this hearing that you would agree that classifying information like this is not in the best interest of the people. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, with the caveat that, of course, I would support classification necessary to protect secrets essential to national security, but I think it's pretty obvious that there's overclassification.
Overclassification, yes. And so in most instances, if they can't tell us what, do you think at some point they'll at least tell us why?
President-elect Trump has repeatedly committed to greater transparency, both on the UAP issue, on JFK files, on COVID origins, and many other things. So I think that we need to make sure that the next administration is held accountable for that.
Agreed. And this is for all four of you. Yes or no, please. I have many questions I want to get to. Are there any known instances of recovered materials or technologies that are not of human origin and maybe connected to any advanced bioscience defense programs within the USG?
I don't know.
I wouldn't be able to answer that, ma'am.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Okay, so there are rumors that have come up to the Hill of a secretive project within the Department of Defense involving the manipulation of human genetics with what is described as non-human genetic material, potentially for the enhancement of human capabilities, hybrids. Are any of you familiar with that? Yes or no?
No, ma'am.
I am not, ma'am.
I'm not.
No, ma'am.
Okay, I would like to know, with Immaculate Constellation, how does this relate to UAP activities, Mr. Schellenberg, in oceanic environments? Are there any instances where the Navy or other maritime forces have encountered UAPs that could not be explained by known technology or natural phenomena?
Yeah, the Immaculate Constellation covers both terrestrial and oceanic, and there's actually a number of cases described in the report that occur in the ocean.
And do you believe that there is a concerted effort by the Pentagon to keep Congress out of the loop regarding these UAP activities, specifically in our waters?
Yes.
I think it's about 5% of our ocean that's actually been studied in detail by man, and we've studied more of space than we had of our own oceans. And so are there any accounts of UAPs emerging from or submerging into our water which could indicate a base or presence beneath the ocean's surface?
I don't know about a base, but as I mentioned, I had a different source entirely describe this pretty extraordinary footage that exists of orbs, of an orb coming out of the ocean and being met by another orb.
Some would say that there's multiple hotspots where we see frequent activity. So in your investigations, have you come across any data or visual evidence like sonar readings or underwater footage of these UAPs?
I have not beyond what's in the report.
You've written about UAPs not only in the air but in underwater. Are there any specifics on what you've learned about the UAP activity in our oceans? Particularly, have you spoken with sources who have provided any evidence or eyewitness accounts of these UAPs interacting with our naval forces or being detected by our underwater surveillance systems?
Nothing beyond what's in the report and then the specific case that I mentioned with the orbs.
So this report says it all. There's no other information that we are aware of regarding the activity within our waters.
I have other sources that have told me that have shared a significant amount of information, but they're not comfortable with me sharing it at this point.
Okay. Are there any technological capabilities observed in these oceanic UAPs that seem to defy our current understanding of physics or our engineering capabilities?
It seems like they all do.
Yes, I would agree with that. My time is up, but I do appreciate your bravery, your courage for coming here and speaking today. And it seems like there's still some questions that we need answers to, and we will not relent until we get those to the American people. Thank you all.
Thanks, Kai. Well, imagine that, man. In Congress, they're actually asking the question.
Yes, correct. So, I mean, for the viewers out there, right? The general public who think what we're talking is shit, right? I think it's not.
Exactly. That's the reason why I want to show.
Yeah, you got to see. I think maybe you're not aware. But this is the American government.
Yeah.
In Congress, American government is like the PAP asking someone, sorry, not PAP, the government asking somebody, like it's a very serious topic. And I mean,
fucking hell, you think about this, man. I mean, the US Congress actually asked a question about
real
the
shit,
possibilities
man.
of underwater submerged objects.
Yeah.
They're asking, unidentified submerged objects, which is USOs, asking about whether they are hybrids of human and non-human genetics.
Correct.
And then you saw the responses of 4 of them there, including Louis Elizondo. 3 besides him went, no, I don't. No, I don't. No, I don't. He went, I wouldn't be able to say.
Yeah, correct. Which is already a given.
I wouldn't be able to say.
Yeah.
He may not have the green light to say it.
Correct. No, it's real. These things, that's why.
Man.
This topics is not something that's plucked out of.
That's the reason why I singled out that video.
Yeah.
Can we also play the next one also at this is in November 24, at the last congressional hearing. So that what we saw earlier on, and this next one that we're playing, where Representative Ogles gets rounds of applause at the hearing.
Mr. Ogles, you're just in time, babe. I will recognize you for 5 minutes of questioning before we head on out today.
Come on, Ogles.
Well, thank you all for being here. And Madam Chairwoman, I'm out of breath because I sprinted to get here. But this is an important hearing. I think we all know that there's something going on. Mr. Elizondo, based on your knowledge of UAP sightings, do you believe it's fair to say that they are especially common near nuclear sites?
Yes, sir. Mr. Congressman, I absolutely am convinced of that, as are my colleagues inside the government.
And the reason why I pose that question, and this has been one of my talking points from the beginning, is, Oak Ridge is in Tennessee. The so-called weather balloon that drifted, that we now know was controlled, it passed near Oak Ridge. It obviously is a sensitive site, both of interest to our adversaries and to whatever else this is. Because we know that at military installations, at sensitive locations, such as nuclear facilities, that we're seeing this take place. So the question is what is it? Do you believe they've caused an irregular activity, and why might they be interested in those sites?
Sir, in some cases, it's actually regular activity. You'd be surprised. There's actually documentation right now that's been submitted. It's not just Oak Ridge. It's Savannah River Site, SRS. It's also Los Alamos. A lot of our sensitive R&D locations appear to be under some sort of surveillance and monitoring. Why? Well, because a lot of innovation comes out of those areas, a lot of new technologies, a lot of if you will, disruptive technologies that we use for our national defense originates out of those locations, and advanced concepts in physics as well. So if I was doing any type of reconnaissance, even on a foreign adversary, that's a great target to start with.
Sure, and again, this has been one of my talking points. I do have questions. What role might the Department of Energy or its subsidiaries or affiliates have in this type of technology? Or possessing this type of technology, whether it's ours or others. Mr. Gallaudet, I think your testimony has been pretty clear, but would you please reiterate that do you believe UAPs pose a threat to pilots? Excuse me.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. They were threatening Navy pilots during the exercise that I was, my people were involved with in 2015, and it's my understanding they're risking pilot safety, commercial and military today.
Well, considering, and I understand that there's a need in some cases to keep certain technologies secret, but you believe that it is posing a threat to our personnel, correct?
Yes, sir.
So I think it's reasonable to conclude that if there's a threat to our personnel who are serving our country faithfully, that there be oversight.
100%, Congressman. And in fact, that's the one thing that we've not talked about enough during this hearing is the fact that the government executive branch not sharing with Congress what it knows about UAP infringes on your legislative and oversight responsibilities to such an extent that's very concerning. I mean, what else are we, if you look at national security or intelligence or foreign affairs or appropriations, you all have oversight and legislative responsibility regarding those. This UAP issue may be the greatest issue of our time, and it's being hid from you.
Well, I mean, and to your point, I think we've seen over the decades that we have certain adversaries like China, like Russia, that technologically speaking are not as advanced as us, that they lack some of the lethality that we have, and that we've seen that they've gone after our technologies and in some cases succeeded, in particular with missile technology. And so again, my concern, whether this technology emanates from us or otherworldly, that we know that we possess it. And where's the accountability? Where are the stopgaps? What are the guarantees that if this were to fall in enemy hands, that it isn't immediately weaponized against us? And I'll say this, it is clear from my experience and what I've seen that there is something out there. The question is it ours? Is it someone else's? Or is it otherworldly? And Madam Chairman, I would posit that as the legislative body, as the regulatory body, we must know. And anyone who prevents us from gaining access to that information, I would consider that criminality. Because we have U.S. personnel who may very well be in harm's way.
All right, Ken,
we
thank
have
you very much.
technology.
There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the guy saying there's criminality. So it's like, he's throwing the gauntlet down, right?
Yeah.
I mean, as a congressman. That's November 2024, bruh. Now we're talking about what happened in April of 2025. This is where we will show you the video of Congresswoman Luna and what she asked in Congress.
Thank you. I will now recognize Ms. Luna for 5 minutes of questioning.
Mr. Elizondo, to your knowledge, can you name the country and around time frame that the first back-engineered UAP program started?
Ma'am, unfortunately, I would not be able to have that conversation in public.
Can anyone on the panel name that?
I cannot.
None of you? Okay. This next question is for Mr. Gallaudet. To your knowledge, have any USOs ever outpaced our submarines?
Yes, ma'am.
At what magnitude?
I don't have the exact speed, but again, a witness came to me, a credible former submarine officer who observed it on sonar data. And this was in the 80s in the North Atlantic during a storm, and it outpaced his submarine by orders of magnitude.
Are you aware of any hotspots that currently exist off our shores in North America?
Not with sufficiently credible data, ma'am.
Okay, we've heard reports of there potentially being hotspots, maybe entry and exit points. Have you heard of any of that?
I have not, ma'am, but my colleague here, Mr. Elizondo, does discuss some USO activity that he's observed in certain DoD databases.
Mr. Elizondo, in regards to these aircraft being piloted by whatever they might be, non-human biologics, would you agree that it's likely that they are being piloted by some mind-body connection?
Ma'am, I think it is safe to presume here that they are being intelligently controlled because some cases seem to anticipate our maneuvers, and in other cases they seem to, I came across an email where the word stalked was used in a very secure email between Navy officers discussing their ships being pursued by a UAP.
In our previous panel, we had Grush, and he had testified to say that some of these were interdimensional beings. Can you speak on that at all?
Ma'am, I'm not qualified, certainly as a scientist or otherwise, to speculate points of origin. I looked at everything from a scientific perspective. So if you look at, for example, instantaneous acceleration, which was one of the observables of the program that I belong to, ATIP, the human body can withstand about 9 G-forces for a short period of time before you suffer negative biological consequences, blackouts and ultimately redouts and even death. Comparison, our best technology, the F-16, which is one of this older platform, but one of our most highly maneuverable aircraft, manned aircraft, made by General Dynamics, can perform about 17 or 18 G-forces before you start having structural failure, meaning that the airframe begins to disintegrate while you're flying. The vehicles we're talking about are performing in excess of 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 Gs.
So are you, I guess, would it be safe to infer that they're living craft?
You know, I'm not prepared at this point to state for the record is something alive or not, because even that definition is hard. There was a time in science we thought that life required oxygen, and we now know that's not true. There are anaerobic bacteria that thrive in oxygen environments that lack oxygen. And so also same with photosynthesis. When I was in college, I was told everything is derived from photosynthesis as a form of energy. In reality, that's not true. There are things that live off of chemosynthesis. So we're constantly having to reevaluate our understanding of what the definition of life is.
Do any of you ever come across reports from people that claim to have firsthand experiences with these entities, whatever they might be, or these aircraft, and then as a result, whether or not they're religious, find that these things will automatically disappear? Anyone, and this is open to any of you on the panel. So just real quick, because I'm running out of time. Lou?
Ma'am, I've always been a nuts and bolts kind of guy. When I was at ATIP, I was focusing more on the performance characteristics and less on the potential occupants.
Okay, the reason I ask is because it seems like, just based on our conversations, that we've had people that say that there are good and bad of whatever these things are. And so my concern from a national security perspective is A, that true? B, are you guys hearing the reports of that? And C, I think moving forward in regard to technology, Mr. Gold, if you can answer this real quickly, some of these aircraft, it seems that they are operating off of energy that we don't currently have. But just yes or no, in your opinion, if we were able to obtain that, would that impact humanity for the better or negative?
Would certainly save us some money on funding on Artemis.
Definitely.
And this is a national security issue, that if there is such technology out there, we're not the only country that might have access to it. We don't want to be on the wrong end of technological surprise.
Okay. Thank you guys for your time.
Wow. She brought out everything, man.
Yeah, she's
including about, very steady. She knows what she wants. Including about the energy source and stuff, right? And whether or not the craft's alive. Now, we have to remember, Bong, before all this, they got into a skiff. Now, again, a skiff is a soundproof, bug-free, and no outside interference where we're bugging and trying to eavesdrop, right? It's an eavesdrop-free room where it was all these, I think more were probably divulged to Congress, to the people in Congress is involved in this hearing, right? And because all we're hearing, these things we're hearing, right, is like what Bob Lazar said, that the craft that he was working on is actually organic, it's actually alive. And now you have a congresswoman asking that during the hearing.
And the best part, she's a Republican.
Yeah, I mean,
but of course, one of the better looking Republicans.
Yeah, she's quite hot. Huh?
Oh, she's hot, but yeah, but she knows her stuff.
She's like the Luna on the Luna. I mean, it's like the Luna moon, the moon, man, the moon.
So she's good. I mean, she really takes the bull by the horns, like they call it.
Seriously.
And also, I think she was also appointed by Donald Trump to head investigation that will also happen around this period. In 2025. I mean, this year. So a skiff meeting with Grouch and a lot of other things that will happen. So it's very interesting because she's basically leading the charge. And then there was also a sort of I wouldn't say a disclosure, but it's a meeting that we had, I think a few days ago, which is very interesting.
Yeah, correct. And that meeting, actually, we're going to play it right now, is a roundtable that was just held on April 30th with this guy named Dr. Eric Davis, who's an astrophysicist. And he's also got access to a lot of special access programs. So the audio's a little bit off, but we did our best to clean it up. And this is a very short video. So just listen to this bit with the congressman asking the question.
Are they multiple species? What was their size? And early on, they're usually on a craft.
They're typically the multiple species. People are familiar with the greys, the Nordics. People are talking about reptilians and insectoids and stuff, but they're reptilian or insectoids that they resemble to the recipient of that top or insect type gene, because they have a head and 4 limbs and torso.
So large, small?
Human size, human scale.
And they're having their crew.
Well, the greys are typically removed from investigating the crash at Peru, which is misnamed the crash at Crossfall. It's the crash at Crossfall. It's the crash at Peru this year. Those were crazy, she booked the tall. And the Nordics are typically human size, probably 6 feet tall. And same with the people who mislabel reptilian and insectoid, they're roughly that top type too. I haven't heard anything about the 7th grade PE.
Yeah, okay. I'm sorry about the audio, man, but that is really after cleaning up.
Yeah.
So can you imagine the original? Because I think I don't think that was supposed to have been recorded. I think someone was recording it, and, that's why it sounds like this. But just to give the idea, the guy was asked a question, Eric Davis was asked a question by the congressman, how many species are there?
Mm-hmm.
And he actually fingered 4. Now,
yeah,
4 would be the greys, the Nordics, the reptilians, and the insectoids.
Yeah. I think for people here, this is the part where they say, oh, it is so fringe, man.
Yeah. But how can it be fringe anymore? It's in fucking Congress.
Yeah, it's Congress. It is a congressman.
Yeah, and it was, all these things are done under oath.
Yeah, correct.
And this was a round table, no doubt. But you are going to, if you lie to a congressman,
go to jail, man.
Congressional thing, you're fucked. Okay? It's a federal offense in America. So this guy's saying this is with a lot of earnesty that we are there for,
Yeah.
But of course, Stephen Greer says it's more than that, much, much more than that. But I suppose what this guy knows, at least what he is saying, he knows are 4. So again, the Nordics, there's actually most human looking among like us.
Yeah.
Followed by the Greys. Well, you all know who these guys are. Oh, this one.
Yeah.
This one is part gray, actually.
Yeah, part gray.
Yeah, he's Zeti Reticulum again. Here we go. EB. Ubi is back. It's Ubi. And the third one is the reptilians that can actually morph into looking like, what's the word? They're skinwalkers, right?
Yeah.
And then you got the insectoids, the people that look like insects.
Yeah, a long time ago, we had in the 1980s, we had a movie called V.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
It was I don't know whether it's part of the disclosure process where they,
Correct,
these reptilians came. They're basically these 4 beings, the Greys, the Rays, the Nordics that look like Scandinavians, very pretty, very handsome, quite tall, like me. And then the other one is the reptilian race, and of course the insectoids that look like praying mantis. Now, when I first heard about these 2 cases of the reptilian and especially the praying mantis, I laughed my head off.
Yeah.
It was like ridiculous to the max. Like I never knew people can create stories like that.
Yeah.
Until it came up more and more and more. And then I realized that actually, if you were to go to different, let's say, planetary surfaces where they evolve, right? We are basically evolved from apes.
Yeah.
I believe in that, right? So they could have been evolved from reptiles or insects.
Correct.
And into their current state.
Correct.
So, but the fact is that there's so much eyewitnesses, all right? And these eyewitnesses are not just making up stories, because it will just you will lose your job immediately when you're found out. So Eric Davis, this person that made this disclosure or open up at the UAP Disclosure Fund, they call it, a few days ago, is basically putting his neck out. And I think he also has a sense of frustration to really share what he knows about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, with that, we're going to close up on what's happened in Congress so far. The next hearing for Congress on UAPs will be held on May the 12th, 2025. Now, let's go to something more regional right now. Now, I found this. Now, unfortunately, I waited to this time, well, we're filming this to show this. Someone in America spotted it and put it up on YouTube. I spotted it while going through those videos. And then I found out a few other things that guy didn't spot. This was during, and sadly, at this time of shooting, His Holiness Pope Francis has already passed away. But this footage was taken in Singapore during just when the papal visit ended, with Pope Francis in the aircraft that's backing out the gate at departure. Okay? Mm-hmm. And this is where I circled the sky. Please, everyone watching this, check out the circle and see what I've spotted. That's the Pope Francis's aircraft. And an object appears in that circle. It's a glowing object. Okay. Now that's just part one, yeah? Now, let's play the second vid. Look into that circle. Just look at that circle. And of course, you hear Singlish in the background. If I'm not mistaken, Kai, there are two vehicles there, right? In the sky? Yes. There's two right now. Because it's my screen that I'm looking at right now is quite far away, so I can't really tell. You got to tell me, Kai. So it's split into two crafts, right? One craft split into two. Okay. Or at this point, okay, it's split into two right there. Okay. Around there. Okay. Can we play the third video then? Now this is where it gets crazy, man. You see the blue arrows I got on the top? Mm-hmm. Now follow the blue arrows from the blank circle. You're going to see this object speed off so fast. Okay, what's going on?
Yeah, the video's over.
Oh, it's over? Okay. It's too far away for us to see.
Yeah.
Okay, it was so quick. Can we play can we just put up the static picture, please? There you go. This craft had a secondary one that split away from it and it sped off like that. Then I could capture on the screen grab. Now, what I did of usual, I picked up this thing and I blew it up. And of course, did a lot more filtering. And then this is how it actually looks like. Can we play the sphere, please? It's an image. Yep. There you go. That is the object. Now, having seen, it really looks
like an egg shape.
Yeah. And notice, there's like a square outside of the cube.
Mm-hmm.
It's like inside a cube. Now, couple of seasons ago, I had Douglas Anderson in the show, my UFO magnet.
Yeah.
And he sent me a video of the craft that was outside in this balcony, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I blew that one up. I blew it up. And it looks exactly like that.
Yeah. For those who are watching in from around the world, yeah, you just witnessed something from Southeast Asia.
Singapore. Right at Changi Airport.
Yeah.
And also on the show, we're gonna give you something that a Reddit user spotted outside his home window in Singapore. Now I thought maybe it was a USS, but then it started to move erratically.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, not USS, the ISS.
ISS. I was just wondering.
Yeah. Thinking about Star Trek or something.
Yeah, great.
What do you think, man? It's not going in a linear fashion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, we would like to have a lot more videos like that. You know, if viewers who see these kind of things, please do send us.
Yeah, do send it to us, you know, and we'll put it on the show. And also this one, but this is 2019. This happened in KL, in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Now, I don't know whether it's fake or not, but you check it out. You tell me, bro.
Okay.
See that shadow? Okay, guy.
That's huge, man.
You think?
That's a very huge craft.
It is very huge,
Yeah.
but do you think it's real?
I don't know, man. I don't know how to I don't know whether to believe that or debunk, but obviously he took it from I think a helicopter.
It seems that way. I thought so too.
Yeah, because
You hear the rotors, right?
the rotors, yeah, the way it was
And it's
moving, shaking. Yeah. Now, never is open to debate, but for those who are seeing this, if you happen to have any more footages, I will
Please just send it over to us, man.
Yeah, because sometimes things like that happen suddenly, and then you can't really, you're not aware that it's there.
I give you the email address. You can send it over to ccbtv2023@gmail.com. Once again, send your videos, footages of anything crazy you've seen in the skies or even on land if you've landed in front of your garden or your front lawn. Just email over to ccbtv2023@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Now, we're going to end the show right now, and Bong will tell you more what is Immaculate Constellation, because we'll leave you with his latest craziest whistleblower. Craziest. See the way I do my hands? Reminds you of who? Gotta stop doing this shit, man.
Yeah.
It's a very long video, but I'm not playing the whole video on the show. Go check out Jeremy Corbell's podcast called Weaponized. And it's about the latest whistleblower. And it's going to blow your mind, man. We're just going to play you a little short excerpt of that at the end of the show. But Bong's going to tell you what Immaculate Constellation is.
Oh, am I? Okay. I'm not really ready to tell you what Immaculate. Maybe you can.
Okay. Immaculate Constellation is a central depository where the whoever these people are, DIA or deep state or whatever they are, that collate information and data on UAPs, UFOs, and put it into a central deposit, and then you start the reverse engineering program.
Yeah, correct. It was actually suddenly found out by this whistleblower while he was scanning through, because there was no classification. Then actually he went
accidental.
Accidental. He went in. Then he saw a lot of he saw a banner that identified it as the Immaculate
Constellation.
Constellation is what is this Immaculate? So it's basically an unacknowledged special access program.
Yeah.
Right. So it was actually created in response to Louis Elizondo A-tip revelations in 2017. Right. So basically incidents are documented in this. What we're going to see, I think, will be a very interesting one. But the mission basically is to talk. I mean, this document talks a little bit about ops and anomalous objects found, and about 15 slides. So he actually saw it, but he was very angry, this whistleblower, because there was basically no oversight. No one is actually looking at this. There is no, I mean, they're basically lying to the American public.
And he did say that for him coming out, he's at risk of being imprisoned for life or even executed.
Executed, yeah.
So he really came out. There was no blanking of his face. There's no nothing. He was out in full person with his voice not being masked.
Yeah, correct.
And he was on the show for an hour plus. But since we showed the black triangle supposed UFO, UAP, hovering over the capital of Malaysia just now, is appropriate because we're going to end the show with this new whistleblower on Weaponized on Jeremy Corbell's podcast, and it's entitled Black Triangle. Hang on before we play that. First of all, thanks, Bong, for being on the show again. And I will just tell you, this has been a great season. It has been a fantastic season 5. Thank you very much for spending time with me and with my guests. I hope you've enjoyed it. Do remember to subscribe, like, comment, and share. And we also like to thank those of you who paid compliments on our YouTube channel. Keep them coming, man. We really appreciate it. It encourages us to do more. I can tell you right now, we started work on season 6, and we're going to take a season break. But of course, as we're taking a break, we're still planning production for season 6. So we hope you enjoyed the Chris Hansen conversation so far in the year 2025. We're working hard to bring you some more content. Stay safe, everybody. Can't wait to see you guys again, right? And on behalf of Bong and of Kai, we'd like to say, stay safe, everybody. We'll see you again really soon. Bye-bye.
And so, yes, in the description, it basically lays out what occurred that night, which was that our collection assets were there in area monitoring Russian naval vessels. Not sure what they're doing there, but they've been hanging out in the middle of the ocean in this place apparently for a few days. Keep an eye on them. And this night, while they are observing the Russian vessels, a large black triangle materializes or decloaks or something. The point is it did not move. It appeared directly above these ships, probably no more than 200 meters, pretty close. And interestingly, as noted in the report itself, there was no visible reaction from these vessels from what would almost certainly be considered a hostile approach.
What do you take away from that? They didn't notice it, or they're not upset about it, or they don't know what to do with it, or what?
So the implication also in the text describing it was, the analysis in the text was that the Russian Navy had foreknowledge that this vehicle would appear in that area of the ocean, and they were there specifically to either collect on it themselves or to interact with it in some way.
Any indication that it might be theirs, that they knew it's going to be there because they control it?
Not in that document, and I haven't seen anything to make me think that they controlled that particular craft, but didn't see anything to the contrary either.
I guess it could be that they've seen it before, that there's nothing they can do about it, so don't get excited about it.
Might be, although it is interesting, if it's something that's part of their environment, as it were, why are they making an effort to be in this space at this time to collect on something they already know about?